I'm Rick for TaiwanPlus here at Food Taipei, Taiwan's largest international culinary exhibition.
On paper, Taiwan has close to 90,000 air raid shelters. That may sound like a lot, but some say that the country takes a quantity over quality approach when it comes to its bomb shelters.
A chatbot people can trust? That's what Taiwan's top tech agency is unveiling, and I'm here to check it out.
Plus,
today, local NGO Modern Women's Foundation is addressing issues of domestic violence in Taiwan.
A warm welcome to Taiwan Plus News. I'm Leslie Liao. Taiwan's largest international food and beverage show is underway in the capital. Over the next 4 days, Food Taipei will be showcasing culinary wonders from around the world. And as Rick Glaut reports, this year's event reveals that even food can't escape geopolitics.
This is Food Taipei, Taiwan's largest international culinary exhibition, with 1,500 exhibitors from more than 30 countries around the world. Each year, Taiwan relishes this opportunity to use food to engage with global partners. Exhibitors championing their local produce include Paraguay, Belize and Guatemala, some of Taiwan's official diplomatic allies. They continue to recognize Taiwan as a country, despite increasing pressure from Beijing.
The importance of coming to an event like this is to promote our country and to promote our products, but also to strengthen the relationship between the Republic of China and Taiwan and with the other friends of Taiwan.
But one nation that was absent from this year's trade show is Honduras. The Central American country broke off diplomatic relations with Taiwan in March in favor of forming closer ties with China. Its president is currently on a 6-day visit to Beijing to meet her counterpart Xi Jinping. Other high-profile guests at the Taipei trade show include countries from Eastern Europe, such as Lithuania and Czech Republic, which have recently been working to forge stronger ties with Taiwan.
We face the same challenges, and autocratic regimes are unpredictable. Therefore, we want more stability, we want long-term lasting relations, well-trusted partners.
This year, the festival centered on the future of food and sustainability, a celebration of food culture that crosses national boundaries. Taiwan is known for its love of food. It's a passion it's sharing with international friends at this 4-day festival, as it continues to find ways to strengthen global ties. Howard Zhang and Rick Glauert in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
A U.S. House committee has unanimously approved a bill supporting a trade agreement with Taiwan. The bipartisan bill will cut some red tape in economic exchanges, but will not reduce tariffs. Representatives from the two democracies signed the deal last week, but the legislation requires any new agreements to be made in consultation with Congress to make sure they're in the interest of U.S. workers and consumers. The bill still needs to be approved by the Senate before being sent to U.S. President Joe Biden. Taiwan's foreign minister has met the Czech Senate speaker in the latest push to deepen ties with Eastern Europe. Joseph Wu is in the Czech capital Prague, where he spoke with Miloš Vystrčil, who has been at the forefront of Czech efforts to engage Taiwan. The foreign ministry says the two discussed direct flights between their countries, aid to Ukraine, Taiwan-China relations, and strengthening bilateral cooperation. Beijing has slammed Wu's trip and urged European leaders not to have any formal exchanges with Taipei. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has increased efforts to isolate it internationally. But countries in Central and Eastern Europe have been keen to show support for Taiwan following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Taiwan's stock exchange, the TAIEX, has closed on a positive note, hitting a 14-month high. Taiwanese chip giant TSMC drove much of the increase as interest in artificial intelligence companies fuels the surge. TSMC manufactures AI chips designed by American firm NVIDIA. Shares in other Taiwanese tech companies, including Delta Electronics and Inventec, also saw gains. A new Taiwan-made chatbot is making its debut, and its designers are confident it can be trusted. So much so that trust is in its name. Joyce Tseng has more.
I'm at Taiwan's top tech agency's office, where they've just given a first look at a Taiwan-made chatbot. The project is a collaboration between the government, industry leaders, and also academics. What they're hoping to do is this chatbot can help answer frequently asked questions and do translation work to speed up processes. But more importantly, they want to make sure that Taiwan is not left behind in an evolving digital era. And that's why they're also wanting to prove Taiwan's trustworthiness on the global stage through this AI technology.
可以成功地翻译出台湾蓝雀的英文名称和后续的描述。
台湾本来就是一个 trustworthy country， 那本来台湾做的所有的东西都是可信任的，而且是对民主自由国家来讲，应该是一个非常好的伙伴。
Science and Tech Minister Wu Zhenzong said the bot has many uses. He sees people using it not only to answer general knowledge questions, but also to support industries in Taiwan with reliable, up-to-date information.
台湾不能没有自己的，那为什么我们要做？因为我们有一些东西不能随便问别人。
以下展示了4种不同的自然语言任务，我们来看。
They're calling this the trustworthy AI dialogue engine. But what exactly makes a chatbot trustworthy? Some academics have identified certain criteria to measure this. One of them is explainability, which means that the process it takes for this chatbot to come up with its answer needs to be clear and transparent to the user. Right now, we're still in very developmental stages, but as we get more information, we'll see how the new project takes on. John Su and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is updating information on its 90,000 air raid shelters and inspecting them, but many are questioning how adequate they will be in times of emergency. Earlier today, I took a closer look at the country's shelters. Let's say you're walking down the streets of Taiwan and all of a sudden, you hear air raid sirens. What should you do? Well, you should find safety. And to do that, you can open up the National Police Agency's app, which has a map of all of the air raid shelters around Taiwan, or you can follow one of these signs to find the closest safe spot. Last year, the government started a campaign to inspect each shelter and update their maximum capacity thresholds. Police say that they've completed over 90% of their surveys and that work should be finished in mid-July. Part of the police inspections is updating signage that shows where the closest air raid shelter is. But as you can see here, they just have an arrow that shows the general direction of a shelter and not exactly where it is. There's no address or information about how far away it might be.
这个图样是新式的标识牌，我们依照建筑物的出入口做的向左也有向右。
Taiwan on paper has close to 90,000 air raid shelters. That may seem like a lot, but some say the country takes a quantity over quality approach. That's because many of the country's bunkers are not dedicated shelters. Oftentimes, they're just buildings' basements. The air raid shelter in TaiwanPlus's building can also be found on the National Police Agency's app. It's actually registered as being the basement's 4th floor down there, which, like in many other places, is the building's parking garage. Many of these underground shelters are not well ventilated, nor is there any air conditioning or supplies should people need to stay for extended periods of time. Taiwan's Defense Ministry recently released the second version of its Civil Defense Handbook. It urges the public to prepare emergency supplies to take with them in the event of disaster. Perhaps Taiwan's air raid shelters are meant to provide a basic safe space, while the rest is up to the citizens they protect. Taiwan's army carried out an exercise to defend against maritime attacks in the south of the country. The annual drill simulates defending against enemy troops attempting a coastal invasion. Combat helicopters used Hellfire missiles to practice ambushing enemy forces. The exercise was delayed for 2 days because of rain, but the Army was able to complete the drill on Tuesday. One type of fighter jet in Taiwan's air fleet, the Mirage 2000, is now more than 20 years old. The plane's high maintenance costs are fueling debate over whether the military should retire the aircraft. Jaime Okan explains.
This is the French-made Mirage 2000 fighter jet. They've been part of Taiwan's Air Force since the 1990s, and roughly 50 of the original 60 planes are still in service. France no longer makes the plane, which means they're harder to upgrade, leading to high maintenance and fuel costs compared to Taiwan's other main fighter jets. The US-made F-16 consumes roughly $3,600 in fuel to fly per hour. That's less than Taiwan's domestically made FCK aircraft, which run at $8,000 an hour. But that's nothing compared to what it costs to fly a Mirage 2000 fighter jet, which burns through over $26,000 every 60 minutes.
Mirage 2000当然是对台湾来讲是很不错的一个就是防空战斗机，不过终究因为这个国际政治的因素，所以它原来的这个 supplier 也就是法国对于后续的这改良可能会比较多的限制。在这种情况下，台湾会思考用新世代的飞机去取代这个 Mirage。
Fighter jets usually need to be upgraded every 15 years, but Taiwan often uses the Mirage 2000 to intercept Chinese warplanes that fly near the country's borders almost every day, meaning these models experience a lot of wear and tear. On top of that, the jets are almost 25 years old. The Mirage 2000 also can't be fitted with new weapons, and parts for the aircraft are expensive and can be hard to acquire. Despite this, Taiwan's defense ministry says the jets are still battle ready.
那么有关于幻象战机它目前的状况，那么依据我们空军使用的情形，它不管是在妥善率，在它使用的情形的部分啊，目前的状况都还是符合副班的标准。
Analysts say that due to the age of the Mirage, the fighter jet should be retired and replaced with more modern aircraft. 66 brand new F-16s from the US are set to be delivered by the end of this decade. But Taiwan says it's pushing for an asymmetric warfare strategy, as it does not have a large defense budget. This means focusing less on the quantity of its weapon systems and more on their quality. Analysts say Taiwan should also invest in other types of air attack systems.
对台湾来讲，由于台湾的国防资源就是8比较少，所以目前的 priority 是从这个 air defense missile 各种飞弹，先做一个比较优先的投资，这也就是所谓的不对称作战。
With increasing military pressure from China, Taiwan is looking for a cheaper solution to protect its skies so it can boost its security without breaking the bank. James Lin and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
And now to some of the other international news making the headlines. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted unanimously on a resolution calling on Russia to release Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. Moscow detained Gershkovich in March on espionage charges. The news publication and the U.S. government deny these accusations. The House resolution does not have the force of law, but politicians say it demonstrates strong bipartisan support for his release. Gershkovich faces up to 20 years in jail if convicted of espionage. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges that he mishandled classified documents. It comes as Trump, the frontrunner to be the Republican Party's 2024 presidential nominee, starts revving up his campaign. Suvan Paul has more.
Arriving at a court in Miami to face 37 criminal charges, Donald Trump is the leading candidate for the Republican Party's nomination for the 2024 presidential elections. He is also making history as the first past or current U.S. president to be federally indicted. Prosecutors say Trump took and refused to return sensitive documents after he left office in 2021. They say many of those files were stored haphazardly at his home in Florida. Prosecutors say Trump even showed highly classified information to aides and guests. Some legal experts have hailed the decision to indict the former president.
In my view, this is a victory for the rule of law. It's a step towards accountability. If the average rank and file citizen had done any of the things that are detailed in this very careful, very thorough federal indictment, they would not see the light of day.
In a 13th floor courtroom, Trump sat silently through the nearly hour-long arraignment. Through his lawyer, he pleaded not guilty to all charges. Outside, protesters both for and against Trump gathered. The scene was mostly peaceful, but one demonstrator was arrested amid a loud standoff. Trump left at the end of the hearing with no restrictions on travel to meet supporters at a nearby restaurant where he blamed the Biden administration for his legal troubles.
We have a rigged country, we have a country that's corrupt, we have a country that's got no borders, we have a country that's got nothing but problems. We're a nation in decline, and then they do this stuff.
Later, Trump flew to New Jersey, where he called the charges fake and fabricated. He also said he had every right to hold on to the documents. The next trial date has not yet been set, but the case looks set to become a long legal battle, something that could complicate Trump's bid to retake the White House next year. Devin Sai and Shubham Pal for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up, would you eat maggots to help save the planet? Stay tuned to see how some are turning to grubs for their grub.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Inka Vat.
This very aggressive form of cultural revolution-like politics in China seems to be moving forward in this modern era.
This grave injustice is happening.
I think Xi Jinping will not give up his ambition.
We need that kind of mindset to prepare for the warfare.
What implications does this have on Taiwan and the region as a whole?
Just like Ukraine right now, you need people to understand we're doing this for our own country.
Reaffirmed our support for the Taiwanese ability to make their own decisions about their own future.
It's very hard to duplicate in the short time. Taiwan still can continue being the leading position if we put efforts on R&D.
And you are riding on a wave. This is exactly the time you need to double down.
I did not realize I am actually running to be the first Asian woman in the state Senate. Our next generation, they can see Asian American is as equal and have the same platform.
Taiwan Talks provides a platform for the voices and perspectives that are shaping our country.
Taiwan Talks, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Taiwan Plus. For more stories from here in Taiwan and around the world, download the Taiwan Plus app.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. Once every 3 minutes. That's how often someone faces domestic violence in Taiwan. And these are only the cases that come to light. Many more go unreported. One local NGO is raising awareness of this issue by providing resources to survivors. Bing Wong has more.
The Modern Women's Foundation has launched a campaign to raise awareness of domestic violence at home. Their plan is to raise funds to provide resources for those who have faced the situation. According to government statistics, 160,000 people have faced domestic violence. That's one case in every 3 minutes.
他不是一年365天，一天24小时都在被打，他可能被打的时候有一个爆炸期，那之后对方就会跟你忏悔啊，甚至于会跪着求你啊，所以他就会进入一个甜蜜期哈，然后再来相安无事一段时间之后，又开始进入了另外一个循环。
我觉得现在妇女基金会其实为了这个受暴妇女已经长达17年，他们其实帮助过11万位受暴者走出黑暗，所以我觉得这样子的机构在社会上非常非常的重要。
Since the Me Too movement is gaining traction in Taiwan, many organizations like the Modern Women's Foundation is finding ways to address these issues. Alex Chen and Bing Wong in Taipei for Taiwan Plus.
With Taiwan's general election just months away, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party has confirmed 3 new legislative candidates. But the news has been overshadowed by another nominee's decision to drop out due to a sexual harassment scandal. Ling Feifan has been accused of failing to address an alleged case of sexual assault while he served as the party's deputy secretary general. A party inquiry has found that Ling was not to blame, but on Tuesday, Ling said he takes responsibility and is ending his campaign so the case doesn't get in the way of reform. To understand how prevalent sexual harassment is in politics here, John Van Triest spoke to Professor Yen Wei Ting, a scholar of government at Franklin and Marshall College.
So why is the Me Too movement only just starting to affect Taiwan politics, given that it's affected politics in other countries for years now?
So the Me Too movement started in Taiwan recently, mainly because of the new Netflix show, Wavemaker, which has focused entirely on, political campaign and political parties.
And so how have different parties promised to change in the wake of these accusations? What are they promising to do differently?
So the DPP has responded by apologizing, and second, the DPP has initiated to start more anti-harassment training for all the party members starting in June. On the other hand, there are haven't been that many cases in other political parties. I don't think it's because there are not fewer cases in those political parties. I think it's because the party culture is still not welcoming for Me Too victims to come forward.
Now, we should stress again that this is a cross-party issue, but the latest case does come from the DPP. It's the case of Lin Feifan, who's been accused of mishandling or not properly addressing a sexual assault case while he was the party's deputy secretary general. Now, he was a rising star among the party's youth wing. Does his decision to stand down from his campaign as a legislator deal a blow to the youth wing?
I think so far, the DPP has taken a more active attitude. Is actually going to help them maintain or kind of help with damage control. I think it actually can help maintain or win over a portion of young voters in trusting them again.
Lastly, how do you think that these accusations are going to affect the upcoming election early next year overall?
So far, we are still 6 months from the election. I think depending on how the parties handle the cases and depending on whether there will be other cases coming forward, so far I don't think it will have a huge impact.
Once again, that was Professor Yen Wei Ting discussing Taiwanese political parties' handling of recent sexual harassment scandals. Fans of Disney's Taiwan TV offerings, get your fix while you can. Taiwan's broadcast regulator says the company is planning to axe all 11 of its TV channels from the country's airwaves. Viewers will lose access to several Star Movies channels, National Geographic, and Baby TV. The first cuts will start October 1st, and the remaining channels will come down next year. This comes as Disney is shifting its focus to their streaming platform, Disney+. Japan has announced a new plan to halt its plunging birth rate.
若年人口が急減する2030年代に入るまでが少子化傾向を反転できるかどうかのラストチャンスです。
Japan has tried to fix the problem for decades as empty schools and an aging population threaten its economy. Prime Minister Kishida Fumio now wants to give bigger payouts to people starting families. He plans to double childcare spending in the early 2030s from the current $33 billion. Japan's fertility rate, the average number of children born to a woman in her lifetime, fell to 1.26 in 2022, a record low for the country. Taiwan's rate is even lower, where women have fewer than one child on average. So how about a bit of grub with your grub? A German scientist has been working on using insects as an alternative source of protein. He hopes this will reduce greenhouse gas emissions and curb deforestation. Sally Jensen has more.
Pass the maggots, please. Scientists in Germany are plating up some delicious grubs. They're hoping it can be used to reduce planet-heating greenhouse gas emissions that come from raising animals for food.
And I see insects as a perfect tool to produce food and feed for aquaculture and also for livestock.
Don't worry, as appetizing as it looks, the research is not designed for human consumption. These scientists hope insect protein can replace soybeans in animal feed. Humans eating animals is one of the main causes of deforestation and climate change, and that's largely due to growing soy to feed livestock.
The large-scale growth of soybean is a major reason for the deforestation of the rainforest.
But it's still not viable to farm insects at scale, and producing this mealworm meal is still expensive compared to traditional soybean. But here, the scientists are hopeful.
Aside of the sustainability aspect, I see also a big business here. Industrial production of insect has become $1 billion business worldwide.
Until that day arrives, though, the most effective way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is to curb our meat eating and plate up for the planet. Patrick Chen and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
And staying in the insect world, it's breeding season for rhinoceros beetles. One community in the southern city of Jiayi is showing off its success raising the insects by inviting parents and kids to get up close and personal with the bugs. Yvonne Young has the story.
Beetles on a tree, eating and flying. It's the breeding season for rhinoceros beetles. There are many of the insects here at the Dingzhuang community in Taiwan's southern city of Jiayi. The residents have worked hard over the past decade to protect these once endangered bugs. They're now showing off their success by opening the community to the public. Parents bring their children here to see the insects and the environment they live in.
顶庄里在庄里长还有我们所有社区的居民里面用心之下，他们不断的让这个环境变得更好。
While here, visitors don't just get to see the beetles up close, but also learn about ecology. The community has worked with nearby schools to train students as guides to raise awareness of the importance of ecological conservation. The Dingzhuang community is a working example of group conservation efforts by local residents, protecting the rhinoceros beetles and their habitat, and more importantly, making sure they'll be around for future generations to appreciate. Patrick Chen and Yvonne Yang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of a 3-masted Mexican Navy training ship docked in France after crossing the Atlantic. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.